Hey, welcome back. Week number 5. What's love got to do with it? This week is interesting because really we're told to tell the truth, and we should all know that already, right? All of us should be aware that we need to speak the truth. But here's my question. Have you ever secretly or not so secretly celebrated when you heard someone struggle? Someone to be in the middle of a lot of hardship, somebody maybe get in a lot of trouble, and you hear about their struggle and their hardship and you hear about their difficulty, and you either say, yep, serves them right, or they deserve it. Have you ever been in that kind of place? If this is you, then this is going to be a new kind of challenge for you today. As we work through the different descriptions of love that we've been looking at in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, the love chapter, we come across one that involves both embracing something and also at the same time resisting something. This is what Paul wrote. He says, love, that's the topic. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. And so in other words, love does feel great joy. It doesn't see it when there's injustice involved. Love should embrace great things, and we should be able to celebrate and rejoice and be excited about love. But when we rejoice in the wrong things, it's not very good. And the simplest way for me to describe this is when you've been driving down the highway and you've got that maniac, crazy driver who's going way fast over the speed limit, and they pass you and they make you feel uncomfortable, and about a couple miles later you see them pulled over by the cops. And you think, yes, so good. He deserves it or she deserves it. Or worse, they're in a car accident and you drive by the car accident and you think, serves them right. They deserved it. They earned it. This is what Paul's talking about. Our desire to rejoice at an individual's hardship is completely outside of the character of God. Hear me. Whenever we're celebrating at the difficulty or the struggles or the disappointments in life of somebody else, when we're celebrating, we are outside of the character of God. Even though somebody may have wronged me, they may have frustrated me, they may have hurt me, they may have annoyed me, real love doesn't rejoice at someone else's misfortune. Nobody should celebrate at the pain of somebody else or the hardship of somebody else. Instead, what Paul says is love is thrilled, love is excited, love is overjoyed, love is elated with the truth. And so when we see somebody experiencing a blessing or they receive some sort of special attention of some kind, maybe you even wanted that attention. Maybe you wanted that award or you wanted that blessing. Are you able to truly rejoice with them, celebrate with them? Does it excite you to know that other people are moving upward in life, even though you might be stuck? Are you threatened by this? Are you disappointed by this? How we respond to these different kinds of situations reveal a lot about how we love. And there's a test. Ask yourself, do I rejoice when I hear bad news about someone who did me wrong? Like, is there kind of a, yeah, good for them, or about time? Or does it break your heart to hear that they're in a struggle, that they're in some sort of struggle and it's hard for them and they're having difficult times? Is your heart broken? Or do you rejoice at that? When someone receives a blessing that maybe you really wanted, a blessing that you felt like you deserved, attention or recognition that really you have worked so hard for, and somebody else gets it, do you rejoice in that? Or does the green giant of envy kind of grow in your soul? See, it's good to live in this tension, and I think there is a very real tension because we like the word truth. As a matter of fact, a lot of us get real prideful because we're like, you know what, I'm just gonna have to tell you the truth. You know, somebody's gotta tell you the truth. Somebody's gotta tell you what you're doing wrong. And sometimes we put pride on ourselves to think, I'm that person. I'm supposed to be the person who does it. As a matter of fact, we even like this phrase, I'm gonna speak the truth to you in love. What does that mean anyway? The problem with speaking the truth in love is the way we do it. Because speaking the truth in love usually is kind of a, it masks itself as rude and harsh, and I've got to come out and just tell you the way it is. And so we say things like, well, speaking the truth in love is mean sometimes, well, because nobody wants to hear what I have to tell you. And it's only mean because you can't handle the truth. You can't accept the truth. You can't receive the truth. And unfortunately, we use truth as an excuse to be a jerk, to be rude. And we've already talked that love is not rude. It does not envy. It does not boast. It's patient. It's kind. It's not self-seeking, right? We've already talked about this. And so if we speak the truth in love, and it's real love, then the truth won't be rude. It won't be harsh. It won't be self-seeking. As a matter of fact, it's going to be patient, and it will be kind, and it will be humble, like we've already talked about. If any of us think truth is harsh, and then it gets fueled with animosity, it's not truth in love. It's truth, but it's not truth in love. See, speaking the truth in love isn't just about truth. It isn't even about encouraging somebody honestly. Speaking the truth in love and telling the truth to people we care about, to other human beings, it's a beautiful experience. It can be a beautiful experience of love and growth. It can be a beautiful experience of maturity and unity. And so telling the truth to somebody is beautiful. It can be beautiful. It doesn't mean it's easy. It's not easy at all because it requires something from me. If I'm motivated to speak the truth to somebody in love, there's going to be some things I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to set myself aside. I'm going to have to consider how to communicate and share. One of the reasons we don't speak the truth well in love is because we struggle overcoming our own fear of rejection. What if this person hates me after I tell them, right? And so all of a sudden, who am I thinking about again? I'm thinking about myself, not about the person that I need to speak life into. And it's hard to put aside our desire not to focus on ourselves. And so when we need to tell someone a truth, it should be in love. And so let me give you just a couple of suggestions about how to do this and do this well. The first suggestion is this: where you have the conversation matters. The location, where you have it. See, too often I think we want to pull out our phones and I'm going to tell a person in a text the truth. Probably not the best idea. Or to feel justified, we make sure we speak the truth in a group setting. Again, probably not the best idea. The best idea of speaking the truth in love is probably one-on-one, in person, in a neutral location where you can hear and be heard, where there can be listening, where there can be conversation so that you can speak this truth. A second suggestion is this: how you bring it up matters. If you're like, well, I've met here today so I can just tell you some things and then I got to get going, probably not going to go real well. If you're just trying to get it out and you've been worked up about how you're going to say it and then you just blurt this truth out and you're like, I'm done now, the conversation is probably not going to go well. And what's going to happen is that's going to lead to defensiveness. It's going to lead to regret. It's going to lead to argument. It's going to lead to misunderstanding. So have the conversation in such a way that diffuses the tension. Talk to the person. Talk to the person one-on-one, so that you can listen, so that you can hear, so that the two of you can process what you are trying to say. And then the third suggestion is this: avoid judgment. Just avoid judgment. We do this when we let somebody explain themselves to us. We do this when we listen. We avoid judgment when we ask questions, when we consider the other person, and when we don't jump to conclusions. And so remember this: love always sees the other person. And when you're called not to rejoice in the wrongdoings, but you're called to rejoice in speaking the truth. Speaking the truth to somebody who matters, somebody who is important, somebody who has life. And I tell my boys often, I love this phrase: we either speak life or we take life. We are either a fountain or a drain. And to be honest with you, nobody wants to be around a drain. We want to be around people who are able to speak life into us, a fountain where we feel encouraged even when the conversation or the topic is hard. And so take time with your group and talk about this. What does it look like to speak the truth, to tell the truth, to be truth tellers, to rejoice in the truth, even when there's some really hard things involved in it.